I'm Hannah McKnight, and we are here in a brand new episode of Help Me Hannah, and I'm partnered with On Femme, the premier brand who designs clothes for people who are assigned male at birth, and people who identify as gender non-conforming who are looking to explore a more feminine sense of style. And this is a web series that talks about finding your style, finding out, who you are through your clothes, through your accessories, finding the right outfit for the right occasion. And I am happy to say that today's episode is going to be inspired by you. We got our very first letter, and to be honest with you, this was not a letter that we actually received, but it is a lot more fun than showing you a laptop. So let's see what today's episode is all about. Love the stationery. Help me, Hannah. I am tired of my living room and I'm ready to strut out into the real world. How do I do this? Love, cooped up in Coopersville. This is something that we are asked all the time. How do I leave the house? How do I go out into the real world? We have fears, we have thoughts, we have emotions, we have anxieties, we have aspirations. It is a big step, and today's episode is all about how to prepare going out into the real world. So why do we want to go out? Well, as I mentioned, we get tired of the living room. We get tired of walking around. We have practiced walking in stilettos. We have perfected a winged eyeliner, and now we are ready to go out and experience the world outside of our home or apartment, or hotel room for some of us. So we want to go out because we are confident in who we are. We are ready to make that leap. We're ready to take those baby steps. We're ready to strut out into a larger world. Because let's face it, when we interact with the world, we learn something about ourselves as well. We learn about who our femme side really is. Are we chatty? How different are we from our masculine life? I know I am very different when I am on femme compared to when I'm in male mode. And very social and very chatty. I tend to be very introverted when I have to present as male. And it's just the same world, but different experiences. So it was really fun when I first started to go out over 10 years ago and just learn these things about myself. It's just really, really neat. There's really nothing like hearing the click of your heels on the pavement, feel the wind in your hair. It's a wonderful experience. It's something that we all dream about, and we all have some of the same anxieties and aspirations. So we're going to talk about the big stuff first. We're going to talk about our fears. So let's talk about the big scary stuff. Let's talk about the world that we live in. Pretty heavy subject for such a short video, but let's face it, we live in a world where transgender people and gender non-conforming people are not really understood. We are vilified, we are attacked, we are harassed, we are humiliated, we are doxxed, we get ganged up on online, we get attacked, we get hurt, even worse. Things can happen. This is the world that we live in. We need to be able to be safe in it. Again, listening to your intuition, doing what you feel needs to be done in order for you to be safe. I've gotten very good about walking quickly, even in heels. I've got long legs, so I can usually get to where I'm going. If I walk into a store and I feel threatened, I leave. If somebody's harassing me, I leave. And luckily, fingers crossed, nothing has happened to me yet. I'm aware of wherever I am, whether it's a parking lot, or the shopping mall, or going into the gas station. It can be a scary world. Luckily, fortunately, that nothing really bad has happened. Some girls carry mace in their purse, and I think that's a good idea. Personally, when I'm walking into a parking lot or walking to a parking ramp, I take my car keys and I keep them in my fist and have the key pointed out in case I ever need to punch somebody or stab somebody if it comes to that. Gosh, this video is getting dark. So, but we all know that the world is not a friendly place for us, but it's actually a lot friendlier than you could possibly imagine, at least in my experience. So let's talk about some of the other fears that we have. Will I be recognized? Maybe. Again, in the 10 plus years that I've been going out, I've only run into one person that knows me in my male life that hadn't met Hannah, and that was my mom, but that's a different story for a different video. The way that I see it is that when I walk into a store or walk into anywhere, I look around, and if I see somebody that I know, I simply leave. Luckily it hasn't happened, but that is my game plan. It's kind of instinct at this point. Walk in, scan, and leave if I feel that I need to leave. The way that I experience the world, I don't think people pay as much attention to each other as we are afraid that we do. And you can actually test this for yourself. Next time you go shopping, walk across the mall. Pay attention to how many people are actually paying attention to you. Probably not very many. That's not to say that you're not cute or that you're not handsome, but everyone is just kind of in their own little world. They're looking at their phone, they're looking at the stores, they're talking to their kids, they're talking to the person that they're shopping with, they're kind of lost in the things that they need to do. People aren't paying attention to each other as much as we think that we are. I know some of us, including myself, are afraid of being pointed at or even videoed and then being posted online. Again, these things could possibly happen. They haven't happened to me. Again, I've been going out regularly for over 10 years, and as far as I know, nobody's actually taped me as I go about my day and then posting nasty comments online. It's a normal fear. It is something that maybe we're a little bit paranoid about, but the way that I feel is that paranoia keeps us alive, it keeps us safe. So let's also talk about the other thing that we all aspire to. Let's talk about passing. Let's talk about blending in. I don't believe in passing. Some of us are hesitant to go out because we don't feel that we look like a cisgender girl. And I get that. That was actually something that held me back for a very, 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 very long time. And I think about all the things that I could have done, had that not been holding me back. But it did hold me back. This is probably a topic for another video, but I don't think passing is real, because when we talk about passing, we are talking about appearing as a cisgender girl. And I don't know about you, but I know cisgender girls who are taller than me. I know cisgender girls that have the same facial structure. I know cisgender girls that have the same voice or even deeper than I do. My point is that there is no parameters, there's no rules as to what makes a girl a girl. It doesn't have anything to do with your anatomy, your height, your voice, the size of your hands, your shoulders. None of those things matter, because I can promise you there's always going to be another girl who's taller than you. So once I realized that there were no standards, it just really opened up the world to me. Literally, I was able to actually go out and experience things without having that fear hold me back. So let's talk about blending in. What is blending in? Blending in is not the same as passing. Blending in is being appropriately dressed for where you are and for what you're doing. It is hard for me to blend in. I am 6'2" without stilettos, and I am a trans girl, and I'm going to stand out no matter where I go. I'm probably not going to blend in. So again, once I've accepted that, it really opened up the world to me. So again, I'm not going to blend in. I'm not going to pass, because again, passing isn't the real, but I'm not going to blend in. So my thinking is that if I'm not going to blend in, I may as well wear whatever I want. I am also conscious of what I'm doing. I am not going to wear my latex French-made dress while I'm going out to get a coffee. I'm not going to wear my floor-length ball gown while I'm running errands, but that would be super fun. It is about being dressed appropriately for where you are. And it's okay if you are overdressed. It's okay if you have the tallest heels in the mall. It's okay if you have the shortest skirt in the museum. It may be a little bit more overdressed than most people who are at the same spot as you. But in a way, you're also dressed, well, you're not inappropriately dressed for where you are. So wear what you want, but also think a little bit about where you're going and what other people may be wearing. And if you're a little bit more overdressed, that's okay, because there's no such thing. So some of us live in tiny, small towns, and we are afraid of going out into our town because we are afraid of seeing people that we know, or maybe that we feel that our community isn't very friendly to the LGBTQ community. I get that. To be honest with you, if you live in a small town and you're afraid of going out on them in a small town, you probably have to go to a different town. That's the reality of it. You can't make other people accept you. You can't make other people ignore you. If you live in a small town, you're probably going to see people that you know. You probably have a greater chance of being recognized. So I get a lot of emails from people asking, I live in a small town, how can I go out? And the reality is that, well, if you're afraid of being seen, or if you live in a community that you don't think is very welcoming to the trans community, you may need to just, run a little bit of a vacation. So again, that's the reality. I wish it was a different world, but that's my option. So what do we bring on our adventure out into the real world? Well, you gotta have a purse if you don't have a purse. And the things that you have in your purse are different than the things that I have in my boy wallet. So obviously I have a girl wallet, and in that wallet I have cash, I have my driver's license, and I have my debit card or credit card. Some of us don't want to carry our driver's license because our driver's license probably has a picture of ourselves in a different gender presentation, but the reality is that if you're going to drive in the United States, you have to have a driver's license on you. So just watch your speed, be a careful driver. Hopefully you're going to avoid any run-ins with the law. Obviously you're going to want to have your credit card and debit card. You're going to want to have cash. I tend to use cash when I'm out and about, especially for smaller purchases like getting a coffee, just because I don't like using my debit card with my masculine name on it. If you have roadside of service or AAA with your car, make sure that you bring that. You may be able to change a flat tire, but it is not fun changing a flat tire in stilettos and a bodycon dress. Bring that with you. Some girls, again, bring mace or another protective item, like an alarm. Bring, the fun stuff. Bring lipstick, bring eyeliner, bring mascara, bring powder, bring things that you need to freshen up yourself. If you're going to go out and you're going to go get a makeover, bring breath mints. Trust me, from many conversations I've had with makeup artists, if you're going to go get a makeover, have some breath mints on you. So one more thing I want to touch on in today's video is bathrooms. If you're going to go out, there is a chance that you are going to have to use the restroom. And this is very much a hot button issue for people who are not fans of the transgender or gender non-conforming community. Every state is different when it comes to restroom use, when it comes to dressing room use. There are some stores that have a policy of use the bathroom or dressing room that aligns with your gender identity. In many states, they have a state law that is the opposite of that, and it usually trumps the store policy. Be familiar with your cities and states' bathroom policy. There are some apps that are out there called Restroom Refugee, and they talk about bathrooms, like public bathrooms that can be used for the gender non-conforming community. If there's a family restroom, you may want to choose to use that. In the 10 plus years that I've been going out, I've never had any issue using the ladies' room. I live in a state that tends to be very progressive when it comes to LGBTQ rights. And I've never had an issue, and I have no fear of using the ladies' room. It is something that comes up. People ask me, Hannah, what restroom should I use? And I don't know. I use the ladies' room when I'm presenting as Hannah. I use the men's room when I'm not. You're going to want to be careful and look at your state laws, and essentially go from there. So this is very much a brief overview about how to be ready to go out on the film. There are going to be a lot of other things that could come up. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me at hannahmcknight7@gmail.com. That's Hannah with 2 H's. So yes, I'm Helen Jerome. So hannahmcknight7@gmail.com. Let me know what your questions are, and we'll cover your further questions in a future video. Again, this is very much a brief overview about getting ready to go out. This is something that you really learn by doing. Going out for the first time is scary. Going out for the second time is scary, but a little less scary. Going out after 5 years, scary. but a lot less scary than it was 5 years ago. You learn by doing. The more you do this, the more you get used to it, the more you realize that people are not paying as much attention to you as you think that they are. And I think going out is a wonderful experience. It can be very affirming, you know, when a gentleman holds the door open for me. I think that's just amazing. When I get manned, I love it. When people compliment my outfit, I can't tell you how many compliments I got on this dress today, which you can find at onfemstyle.com. It's just wonderful when people say, "How do you walk in those heels? I wish I could walk in heels like that." Just having people engage with me, just having normal girl talk. I know I'm trans. People that I'm interacting with, they likely know that I'm trans. And I know that they know. And they're still kind to me. And I would much rather have someone be kind to me, knowing that I'm transgender, instead of someone being kind to me because they think I am cisgender. So that's all that we have for today's video. I really hope that you learned something. Tell me what you think in the comments below. I hope that you like and subscribe to the video, and we'll see you again.